brain. Welcome into his frequency. Enter at your own risk. Come be at peace with me. Ask the Hall, where we rise and don't fall.
Welcome back to another episode of Baxter's Buzz. I am your host, Baxter E. Hall. Welcome to my brain. Welcome to my frequency. Enter at your own risk. Today is a special day, okay? Today, I have maybe the person who's had the most appearances on Baxter's Buzz. Definitely top two. Definitely top two. Dr. Neffie Lewis. Nefertiti Lewis, excuse me. Dr. Lewis, welcome back to Baxter's Buzz. It's been a minute though.
It has been. How are you?
Fantastic. It is Black History Month. It is Black History is American history, right?
Yes.
And we've done this almost every year since I've had the podcast. So today we thought we would just mix it up a little bit, take a different approach on someone that a lot of us already know, but maybe I think you're going to provide some insights that maybe all of us do not know. So who are we going to celebrate and talk about today, Neffie?
Before I say that, I have to acknowledge that the last time we talked about Malcolm X, and that was such a great conversation, and it was so near and dear to me. But
yes.
that was
2
a
years
blast
ago.
from the past.
Yes.
Yes.
2022.
22?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so today we're going to talk about Maya Angelou.
And I said, what did I say? I said, Neffie, we're gonna pick Maya Angelou. We gotta switch it up, right? So Maya is one that I think we discussed often and she's celebrated, but I think there's a lot more to her, just like most people that we probably haven't gotten into, a lot of folks may not be aware of. So tell us a bit about Miss Maya Angelou.
Well, first of all, her real name isn't Maya Angelou. And it was funny because I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Her name is Marguerite Annie Johnson. And you may say, okay, well, how did she get that name? Well, she got that name because she had a nickname. So my nickname is Renee. So if someone says Renee, I'm like, oh, they really know me, right? This is the Neffie or the Nefertiti. But Maya was her childhood nickname. And then Angelo was the name of her former husband. So she put them together because she was working in a club. And that was her pseudonym, her alias, Maya Angelou. And that was way back in 1928.
Oh, wow.
So a long, long time ago.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm listening. Go on.
So, the reason why I chose her is she's such a strong woman, and people do know like all of her different poems and her winning this and doing that, but they don't know that she had like these really crazy experiences as a child, that she had one that was so traumatic that it left her mute for years. Like she said nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine this woman that is so strong, that loves literature, having years of saying nothing because of this event, and then able to pull herself out of that. And then if we even think back even further, since we are talking about Maya Angelou during Black History Month, 1928, racism, sexism, all the Jim Crow laws, all the craziness going on. Like I have anxiety about small things, let alone having to worry about being judged for being an African-American woman in 1928,
Sure.
Right? And so despite all these challenges, she found her solace and her peace in a book.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She developed this love for writing and poetry. That's why I tell my kids and all the kids and everyone that I can talk to, read a book. It can change your life, because literally this is someone that's a pillar that it changed her life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's excuse me, that's powerful. I think about the thoughts and the opinions and the passions that we have that we may not have the confidence to share, right? Someone, we've had a traumatic experience and it may not have made us mute, but it may have made us very, very much selectively, um, selectively mute, where we're not sharing a whole lot. We're not, we're saying the bare minimum,
Yep.
And people are, we don't have the confidence that what we're saying matters or that anyone wants to hear. But and everyone isn't necessarily a writer per se, but we all have passions and opinions that we would like to share, but we need to be able to share them in safe spaces, right?
100%. What you're describing is an inclusive environment. What you're describing is feeling a sense of belonging. I can just say there's many times, you always say, Neffie, if I can get a word in, right? Imagine me sitting there and I've been in those environments to where I felt like either my opinion didn't matter, my opinion wasn't wanted, or my voice couldn't or wouldn't be heard.
Yeah.
And I mean, for her strong spirit and talent, she just felt at that time there was so much coming at her that she couldn't. But that just is a testament to her strong spirit that she was able to overcome, to the point in 1969, she wrote that groundbreaking autobiography, Why the Caged Bird Sings, which, if you think of a caged bird, why would you sing? Right? And that was
Yeah.
her. She was this caged bird. She was this mute person, but she found a way to get her thoughts and her emotions out. And I've said this before in the different articles that I've written. Energy is emotions, emotion is energy. You got to get it out. So whether it's writing, whether it's
Yeah.
reading, whether it's talking, whether if you have to go and scream, you have to get that out, because we're all here with different things in us that we have to give to the world. We have to influence, we have to impact, but we can't do it being silenced.
That's right. You mentioned inclusion. You mentioned a sense of belonging. I mean, you are and diversity, equity, and inclusion um, manager. Um, you know, expert in many ways, right? I mean, when you think about um, w- the workforce, the company that you work for, and just the society kind of as a whole, what does this work mean today? Like, does it mean anything differently to you from like 5 years ago, 2 years ago? Like the work that you do, like why is it important to you, and like kind of what are you seeing, and that makes you want to continue it? Because it's in some ways, it has fallen out of favor. It doesn't seem like the nice shiny toy that it was a few years ago. So can you speak to that a bit?
Of course. Well, I can just tell you this. I absolutely love what I do because I want to have impact. I want to have influence. I want to leave behind a legacy. I want people to be better when they left me than when they came to me, right? So that's a driving force for me. And that's the engagement and passion that comes from me as an individual that adds on to the work every single day. And yes, you're right. 5 years ago, it was unfortunately this buzzword, and there was a lot of promises, a lot of words where the action wasn't aligned to that. And then you see some companies now, they're either doubling down, and goodness for those companies. And then you have some that are just, okay, I don't have to do this anymore, which we know at that point it was performative, right? So the question was like, is this work the same? No, it's ever evolving. Because what you do today is different. Like I was reading a quote the other day, it says the price today is not the same price as yesterday, right? And it's the same thing with diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, whatever way you want to have the acronyms. Ultimately,
Yeah.
it's about diversity are the stats. What does my organization look like? The inclusion part is, how do my people feel? The belonging is the end result of what we want people to come to work. You can be from wherever, whatever sexual orientation, you can pray to whatever. At the end of the day, do you want to be here? Do you want to show up and show out? And if not, then maybe you're the wrong person for the job. If yes, come on, bring your friends, be that brand ambassador. And
Yeah.
so for me, even like if I'm doing this 20 years from now, 50 years from now, it's never a destination. It's an ongoing journey because it's different strokes for different folks, right? The way I may lead you may be different from the way I may lead my 10-year-old, which is different from the way I lead my 15-year-old, and definitely different from the way I did with my 22-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So if we're not having the situational leadership and this over-encompassing umbrella of how we lead people, then we're going to be stuck. There's just no one way to get to wherever you have to go. Like that's why we have ways and maps and everything else. We can get there different ways as long as we get there.
That's right. That's right. And as long as we are being invited to the
Yes.
party.
Or
Yeah.
bring your own chair. Right? Hey, how you guys doing? I didn't know we're having this meeting. Bring your own chair. This is my ad. And one
Yeah.
thing I tell people all the time when I have an opportunity is, if you have something to say, if you're going to mention a problem, then bring that solution. Like, because we can all day long talk about this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Okay, so are you going to be part of the problem or are you going to be part of the solution? It's fine to bring up what's wrong, but it's even better to say this is wrong and this is my idea to get us from point A to point B. That's to me how you have seats. That's to me how you're heard.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just part of, well, I witnessed, I wasn't participating in, there was a gentleman talking about some stats, and I want to say this, and you mentioned it. A lot of companies are downing, or doubling down, I should say, on their investment in DE&I work. There's been a small drop off as far as investments, but not what you would think. It has not fallen off a cliff, contrary to what it may feel like. There's still a lot of organizations doing a lot of great work, and there's some that have bowed out. Hey, this project, this thing didn't work. We hired the one person and told them to change the entire company, no
Right.
resources.
Right.
And then shockingly, it didn't work, right? And so now this person is moved on to greener pastures, and now you've abandoned the entire sort of initiative. And it really shouldn't be an initiative, it should really be just part of
The organization.
Right.
It should be all tied into the business results and the business goals. It's all should be shared. It's not, you're right. It's not one person's job to do anything at a company.
That's right.
And if it's a shared goal, then you can get to wherever you're trying to go a lot faster than saying, Baxter, y'all save the world. Like,
right.
Come on now. And then let me tell you something. In my prior days of living, I'm aging myself. I would probably wear this cape. The cape is heavy. The crown is heavy. I don't want that. I want to be able to be surrounded around people that want to learn from me, that want to do a good job. Great leaders create great leaders and share it. I don't like that mentality of I'm going to hold on to all the jewels and all the toys in the sound box because then I'm safe. No one's ever safe from anything. And if I want to grow, then I should have someone that can replace me because that can't be the reason. If I have all the things needed to move forward, but the person to replace me, then shame on me, not the organization.
Yeah. And that can impact any and all departments in the org. Is where that's a whole other conversation, right? Folks kind of hanging on to things, not properly, cross training or sort of holding on to this info, but they're really an impediment to the growth potential of the org by doing that, because they're, like you said, the great leaders should be creating great leaders, and they are kind of doing the opposite. They're not a great leader, nor are they even passing down any of the knowledge, right? And they may be showing the person that ultimately replaces them that this is how you should behave, right? And so they're taking the exact opposite approach than they should. But back to Maya Angelou, do you in your research, did they say how long she was actually mute?
I think it was a couple years. I think it was less than 4 years. I can't remember the exact amount of years, but it was a while.
Yeah, I mean, a year, a month feels very traumatic.
For me, an hour is traumatic, but
Yeah.
no, but I tried it. So I'm a big Deepak Chopra. He's an author, and he has this book called the seven spiritual laws of success. And in one of them, I can't remember the law, it's between the first 3 laws, and it talks about like being quiet and practicing the silence. And I was on a long road trip to San Diego, which takes about 21 hours. And I could, like, for an hour, I was like, like, I want to say, is that tree's ugly, or oh, I like the Suburban. Like, it was, and so like he's trying to train you to slow down your mind, and then you do it for an hour, and then he do half a day. But he says people are literally physically having a response to having to be quiet. So for her to just literally not do that and then to come back the way she did, Why the Caged Bird sing Phenomenal Woman, When Great Trees Falls, all these wonderful things, winning the Presidential Medal of Freedom, being a civil activist is a beautiful story, but she went through so many things before that. And that's one thing about life. And I love the fact that we're talking about her as a whole. a lot of times we focus on the end result of where someone's at. Oh, it's all the glory, but no one wants to know the story. And when they know the story, they typically don't want to go through what someone went through to get to where they are.
They want to skip the line, right?
Skip all the bad parts, right?
Yeah.
But that's when character is built, right? That's when knowledge and wisdom is built to be able to tell a story and to be humanistic. Like on our Black Empowerment call, we had Daniel Lewis as a speaker, and he was telling us these really vivid stories about his past, and he was very vulnerable and transparent. And some of the feedback that I got was like, gosh, he's like this human. So it's not like some speakers, and nothing against other speakers, but some speakers, it's all theory or concept, right? Conceptual. But his was like, this is what happened to me. As a result, I did this. As a result, I did this. And it's like, okay, well, this human had this human experience. I'm human. I can do it too.
Yeah.
And this kind of adds on that extra oomph to what someone's saying. And even me knowing him and having seen him speak live and in color in person, it still hit me hard virtually. Like, I need to do better. You know what I mean? Like, I was convicted because when, he had another thing that says, like, who are you becoming? Not your title, not your next degree, not your next, whatever adventure. He was like, are you becoming more jealous? Are you becoming more complacent? I was like, oh, like, if you really stop and think about that, like, who are you becoming? Like, I may steal that and write about it because it's a good question. Because on a broad level, who you becoming? I'm becoming this and becoming that. But when you say, like, who are you becoming inside this heart thing?
Yeah.
Brene Brown's like premises, then you got to stop and have that conviction. Like, then I need to do better.
Sure.
And that's what life's about.
Sure. You would review and reflect on that, just like you would in a sales department. You would look at trends, right? Marketing, you would look at retention. If you are, in HR, we have to, if we're in sports, we're going to watch the prior game, look at what we did well, what we did, preparing for our next. And sometimes we can fall into these spaces and not know, like, wow, I've been in this rut for months now, right? And who am I becoming? Where am I trending? Am I trending upward? And what resource do I need to start to trend upward again, right? To kind of maybe get back to this baseline and then kind of build upon that. What are some other things around Maya that stood out to you that you want to touch on?
Well, I love Phenomenal Woman as we're getting ready to go into Women's History Month because somebody told her one day, like, you're not an attractive woman, and that's kind of like the premise of, like, really? Well, I may not be attracted to you. I'm attracted to somebody, first of all. And second of all, I'm a phenomenal woman. And if you just really go through every sentence of that, it just embodies just being vulnerable for you to love your skin that you're in, for you to be an overcomer. And like, I love that a woman's empowering another woman, right? Because if we do that, it just makes everyone better. Just showing that love. It means if you think it and it's positive, say it. If you see someone and go, you know what, I like your hair. Don't be like, I don't like your hair. No, tell her. I like your hair. I like your skin tone. I like your confidence. Tell me more. And that reinforces those things. And, I really, really love Still I Rise because that is applicable for everybody. Everybody has mountaintop moments and everybody has valleys. So I really love the concept of Still I Rise. Like, you're gonna go through things. No one is exempt from going through things. But
that's right.
You make the choice. If you decide you're gonna get up, you can continue to fall 7 times, but if you're gonna get up on the 8th time, that's 100% entirely up to you. So I love the empowerment and almost like the lessons that have transcended across generations, and even now, and even when I'm gone, is that she has these almost, to me, love letters to society that you can be better, you can go through things, and you can use your own self motivation and all the things that you've got over through your life, all of the knowledge, all of the experiences, and then pull yourself up. And that's just really what life is all about. Like, it's just being better every day. Like, I don't want to be a hamster on the wheel. I don't want to stay stuck in where I'm at. And it's not about anything grandiose. Like, it could be as simple as today, instead of me walking 1 mile, I walk 2 miles. Right? It could be like, you know what? I haven't talked to my friends on a regular basis. I'm going to call 2 of them today. Like yesterday, I said, you know what? I used to do a lot more nicer things. So I have an older lady that lived next to me. I went to the store and it was half off for Valentine's Day. I got her this big old teddy bear and I wrote her a thank you card. I said, thank you for being the best neighbor. I really appreciate you. Right? Gratitude goes a long way. So just long story short, I just love the way she encapsulates all the human experiences, all the obstacles, and she turns it into a positive.
Yeah, there's definitely a theme with so much of her work is it is empowering, and it does talk about it embodies the I'm this, but I'm this too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have value, and I bring value to the table, and um these circumstances aren't
Don't
going to
define
keep.
me.
Yeah, yeah, they're not going to hold me back, right?
Yep. And then like she just really understood the human experience. And then she had that commitment to social justice because she was like, I'm not gonna just be great and keep it. I'm gonna spread these seeds. And I literally, if I was in an area where it was green, I'd be a seed spreader. Like,
Yeah,
because ultimately we want to spread seeds. So therefore we can sit in the shade later on. And if it's not in our time span, somebody else can sit in the shade because of something that we did.
yeah, yeah. Um, this may be a really good place to to start to work. You talk about green and you talk about planting seeds, and I love that. A book I just uh listened to recently, he talked about the grass, I believe it's called St. Augustine grass.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about sort of feeding the things that you love to do, the things that make you better, and basically starving out any negative thoughts, any negative people, any negative, you know, habits that you may have. And this St. Augustine grass is so thick and so strong that it literally chokes out weeds. Like
Mm-hmm.
no weeds can even cut through.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful concept, right? We all kind of start from this, from this soil, and we have to determine if we're going to let whatever is in this soil define us, or if we're going to, sort of grow strong or stronger from it, or we're going to let it sort of, kill our spirit, kill our will. But if we don't, if we're able to stay faithful, stay committed, stay diligent, we can be strong, and we
Yeah.
can, provide a space that doesn't allow for any of that negative talk, that negative, self-talk, or from any outside sort of naysayers, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if whatever you feed will grow and whatever you starve will die. And I know that it's like so curt, but at the end of the day, to your point, what are you pouring into?
Yes,
And what are you speaking? Are you speaking life or are you speaking death? If you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, this is the terrible day. I gotta work. Like, people are looking for jobs.
that's right. That's right.
Oh, my wife is getting on my nerve. People want to get married and have companionship? Like,
Yeah.
so we really do have to be cognizant of what we do, what we say, and then the seeds we plant, because ultimately, there's a time to reap and there's a time to harvest and all that jazz, right? And
Yeah.
so I don't think we think about that. Sometimes we're so in the present that we're not thinking about the future and we're not reflecting on the past. And that's a
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah. Because we're doing ourselves a disservice. If, I was just talking to Zara about this recently. The anxiety comes about these things that haven't happened or probably won't happen, right? And then, we sometimes we spend a lot of time in the past and the regrets. And man, I should have did this. I should have said this. I should have. And we have this beautiful moment right here that we are
Yes.
not capitalizing on.
Well, and that's kind of like, it's almost like systemic that we are taught and trained now to where, like, I was at my daughter's softball game and I found myself doing this. I had my phone up. I couldn't see in the moment. I'm looking through the phone and then I have to go back and reflect when I'm right there. So I haven't been as active as I used to be, like on Instagram or Facebook, because I'm starting to say, life is short and a lot of things have happened and people have passed away around me, especially from COVID to now, even as recent as 3 weeks ago, that I'm like, I have to be in the moment. Yes, I can share these things,
Yeah.
but let me get in the moment first. And then that should be an afterthought. That shouldn't be the first thought. I mean, people are literally having things happen where people can help them. And before they help you, oh, and you're
Yeah.
like, help me like,
Yeah.
first. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
is interesting, but I think the help part also comes in like, if I know things, I should be able to teach you things, and you should be humble enough to say, "Oh, I didn't know that. Tell me more," versus saying, "Oh, you don't know more than me." And I see a lot of that too. Not just only personally within family units and friend units, but also in organizations, to where it's like everyone thinks they know everything, and it's like you don't know everything. No one
Yeah.
knows everything. A
Right.
2-year-old can teach me something. A high school student can teach me something. A fellow PhD can teach me something. But we have to be open to actually get the lesson.
Yeah.
You know, I talked to somebody about that today. I'm like, hey, don't be so standoffish. And it wasn't about me and them. It was just them and someone else. I was giving them some advice. Like, just put it down for a second and then see what they say. And don't be just so ready to respond. Just
Yeah.
actively listen. And I think that's a good thing for all of us, is to do better with
Sure.
active listening. I don't know how many times I'm on the computer like, yeah. And then I literally have no idea what they say. That could
Yeah.
be some age too, but that's me also trying to do several things at one time.
Yeah.
I don't retain what it
Again,
is.
we're not being in the present, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me a line from one of Maya's poems, one of your favorite lines, and just kind of summarize like why you love it so much.
So most recently, I love When Great Trees Falls, and it's really about people that have become these legacies and communities and families, and they have these roots. And she says, when great trees fall, lions shudder and they seek shelter. And you think of the king of the jungle having to say, what is that? Let me find shelter because this great tree fell. And at the end of it, it starts to talk about how over time you will get like this electric feeling in your body that you really need to embrace, and that they existed, right? And then you can be and then be better because of your correlation with this particular person, community, or whatever the case might be. And the tree is that symbol or that symbolic thing of it. And I most recently read that at my mother's funeral, and someone that I'm not even close to, because that's not public news. I haven't really told anybody. My mom was very private. And I was sharing it with them, and I was like, I'm not sure what to say. Like, I'm usually not a woman that's lost for words, but I'm like literally like, I'm mute because I was grieving so bad. My heart's broken, and they sent it to me. And I am a fan of Maya Angelou, and I've read so many things that weren't like, flashy public things like her old stuff, but I either didn't remember that I read it, or it just was like perfect. And that's one thing that I read at my mom's funeral. And people were like, I mean, you could hear a pin drop. It was just that quiet.
Yeah.
Because it just embodied her legacy and who she was. Like, she was this great tree that fell.
Yeah.
And imagine all the people that are pillars in our community, in our life, that you're like, man, but what did I learn from them? And how can I continue on with their legacy? You know? So I know that's a long-winded
No.
to give you one sentence, but that's my favorite poem in the whole wide world right now.
Yeah. No. And you don't ever listen to what I say anyway, so I wasn't expecting one sentence. No. No, that's beautiful. It's meaningful, and of course I know why it is resonating. So just condolences to you and the entire family.
Thank you.
Like I said, we've talked about it a bit off air, but yes, my heart goes out to you all. But just know that impact, you know, it's a part of you, your siblings, and the rest of the offspring. So there, she has a wonderful legacy that she's left that's continuing to go on. So
Absolutely. Well, because I need to probably read Still I Rise, because that will be my next venture, is like, go through it and then you rise, because that's what she would want me to do. Such a strong woman and such an impactful woman to so many, even being there, the stories and how the impact is like, whoa.
yeah,
There's one thing to have your experience, but then when you have the shared experience, you're like blown away. Like, how
yeah,
did you have this much time to talk to everybody when I was always on the phone with you? What are you
yeah,
doing?
yeah,
You
yeah,
were sharing yourself with me, Mom. Like, wait a minute, I thought it was me and
yeah,
you. And it was so funny because I got up and said, well, one thing I've learned about this memorial is that, I was her favorite, and then everyone chuckled. And I go, but everyone was her favorite. She made us all feel special, and
yeah,
that was a gift that she had.
yeah.
And
That's
how can
amazing.
one not like that? How can one not love and appreciate that? Because we
That's right.
all need to feel special in some form or fashion.
That's right. That's right. Wow. Yeah, Neffie, thank you, Dr. Neffie. Thank you for just sharing that, tying it all in. Yeah, this was good. This was good. On behalf of Dr. Lewis, I am Baxter E. I just want to let everyone know, first of all, Black history is American history. I want to thank you for listening, watching, and to know, I want everyone to know that you are all capable. You just need to embrace your own frequency. So until next time, peace.
Welcome into his brain, welcome into his frequency. Enter at your own risk, come be at peace with me.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, please subscribe, share, and also hit that notification button as well. Thank you so much.
Financial literacy to authentic Black history, this real rap.